this is just our way of, communicating with the people out in the universe. I'm going to have to apologize in advance for my water today. Come on. Don't do it like that. No, keep it going. There we go. Okay. I just ran an update on my phone. I probably should have done that. There we go. We got people. So people will come in. It gives them a chance to figure out they're on the show. And then what will happen is HB will give me a cue so that we can start the radio show. But I got a rant today. I'm pretty pissed off. Okay. Pretty pissed off.
Because I'm already seeing people I know.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's wonderful. We want you, and the whole goal is to make this a whole statewide thing. Even though I'm located here in Indianapolis, I don't want it to just be Central Indiana. I want it to be everybody in the whole 92 counties. If you're running a race, people need to know about it.
Yes.
Because you never know. They may send you $5, or they may say, "I got a cousin in the neighborhood. She's gonna come back doors for you."
Yes.
And that's what we want. We want people to find you. So after we get done, I'll ask you about, where people can find you and what fundraising events you have coming up so people know about it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're starting to get a nice little audience. And y'all have to forgive me. I have been refusing to catch a cold.
Oh, well, I took my
Thank you,
daughter
boss.
to, sorry.
Yeah, that's our 1 minute. No, you're fine.
My daughter, I took her to France Park, and then I took her to Winona Lake in Ohio, and I came back with sun poisoning, and I was dehydrated, so...
Lead poisoning?
Sun poisoning.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you said Winona Lake, Ohio?
Yeah, Lima, Ohio.
So we have
all these inflatables on with a blog.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It's so fun. But yeah, sun poisoning, not great.
So we're about a half a minute out. He does a little intro now. He's got like an intro for the show, which is pretty hot. I like it. I like it. So he's getting himself ready.
How long have you been doing this show?
A little over a year now.
Well, very good.
Yeah, a little over a year. I'm really excited about it. So he's fading out. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana White, coming to you live from Office Flex at 10th and Jefferson. Yes, we are in the hood. Come by my window. Come say hi while we're on the air. I would love to see people say hi to the people. Hey, y'all get up for Jumbo Love HB and RadioNext.tv. The only reason why we get to do this is because he's given us an opportunity to get our platform heard. So y'all give it up. Go visit our website. We can always use more sponsors. If you like what we're doing and you like what we're bringing to the show, please, 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 please go to the website, sign up, become a sponsor, become a member, and figure out, hey, I can donate $5 or I can, most. Well, they all kind of angered me. Laura Ingraham, the only white nations on this planet are in Europe. Laura Ingraham, I know you went on your little rant talking about this ain't the country we thought it was because of the demographic shift. Dog, you are the second wave of a demographic shift. If you want a white country, I suggest you go to England. If you want a white country, I suggest you go to France. If you want a white country, I suggest you go to Germany. Because there is no country in the Western Hemisphere that has ever been a white country. And how dare you insult us, Americans, our melting pot, our land of immigrants, by suggesting because there's a demographic shift, this is not the country that we love. Fox News, you need to check your people, because she's on one and she's letting all of her racist roots show. I know that she gets a touch up every now and then on those dark roots, but she's letting all of her racist roots show. I'm going to need you to holler at her, because I tell you what, she's insulting. She's very much insulting to the Americans that died to try to beat America and what we are, all the gains that we have made, all the acceptances that we've done, and for you to sit around and suggest that for some reason the America that we are now is not the one that we love because of a demographic shift? Girl, boo. I'm going to need you to take all that back where you don't burn so fast. Go on back to the Northern Hemisphere, Scandinavia, or wherever the heck you came from, where your people came from, and go have your little white nation. Because in the United States, we are a melting pot, and we love everybody that wants to come here. We love them. We suggest they come here. This is the land of opportunity. And I'm sorry, that kind of hit me hard because, mind you, you know, she probably ain't that many generations removed from immigration, her damn self. But she wants to talk about a demographic shit. You know, I think y'all need to check her, let her know that her ideas of what America is all messed up. It ain't never been a white nation. Have always been people of color on this continent before the European settlers got here. Always. So I only know what she tripping on. So she needs to check herself. Second thing I want to talk about, this is good news. We're going to balance the good news out with the bad news. Congratulations in Missouri. Missouri voters struck down the right to work bills out there. Union folks, you fought hard. You fought and check it out. It happened for you. Right? It happened. So that's to show you if you know, solidarity is real. If you work hard, it's real. If you do what you need to do to bring people to the polls, it's real. So that's a good piece of information to share, especially for my Hoosiers that sometimes think that, you know, we can't get what we need. This is a sign. Missouri is as red as you can get. You can't. I mean, Missouri and Kansas, all that, they're very red. They're very red states. But they struck down the right to work because they know right to work means right to be broke as hell. Right to be broke as hell. That's what that means. All right. I know last week we didn't touch on it very much, but I want to get it in. And y'all have to excuse me. I'm not sick. I do not have a cold. But if I don't drink a little water, I might be in trouble. Anyway, Just Sessions and his religious justice league. I'm gonna call it that because they decided now that they're gonna create a religious liberty guidance task force. Now this task force is going to be set up so that if you are discriminating against people in the LGBTQ community, there's a safe haven for you. So they are sanctioning discrimination. Listen, you don't ever have to like gay people. I'm not telling that you have to like gay people, but we've gone through this. If you have something that deals with public accommodations, you cannot treat people poorly in those public accommodations. We've gone through this. We've had these conversations. I don't know why we got to keep having them. But Jeff Sessions and his boys, they want to come up with the Religious Liberty Task Force so that people who want to discriminate against LGBT folks have a friend in this administration to treat people poorly. Again, something else that's just ticking me off, and I think that we need to wake up to where we are and what our country is doing and how we are portraying ourselves to the rest of the world. Jeff Sessions is a little bit bigger. He's still trying to prove himself a man. All of this nonsense, I don't know what kind of bad gay experience he had, or if he had one at all. I'm just saying, you know, he needs to work with that and figure that out, because coming after me and my family is not a good idea, and I suggest you not do it. And then finally, two other things. The EPA is allowing asbestos again to be sold. Now look at here. I am no scientist, I'm no engineer, I don't know everything there is to know about poisonous materials, but I thought we realized a long time ago that asbestos was bad for people. We have special task force and special units to come in and remove asbestos from buildings when it's discovered it is there. But now we're saying, because it's a Russian company that's selling it, y'all do know that. It's a Russian company that is selling asbestos. We are now allowing asbestos material back into our environment. Why are we allowing this to happen? Why are we allowing this to happen? That is unacceptable on multiple levels. We're talking about bringing known carcinogens back into the market. Now, you don't have to buy it, but how do you know when you're buying it? If you're having some contractor come and do work in your house, how do you know they're putting asbestos down? They're not detailing you where they went and bought that material. They'll do whatever they can to save some money, right? I mean, they will. But if you allow it back in the market, then they can purchase those things that will be harmful to you and your family. EPA, we need to check that. And one more thing, Curtis Hill. I I can't even call you a bruh no more. I'm not even sure what planet you are from, because anytime you want to file a lawsuit to say that the extra early polling locations we should not have in Marion County, the county that has the highest population of people of color, maybe those freckles are messing with your brain. I don't understand. Maybe every time you dress up like Elvis, you lose a little piece of your soul. I don't know what it is. Or maybe you were trying to get your get out of jail free card because you like to grab ass. I don't know what it is. But the idea that you are coming after Marion County voters by suggesting that we don't deserve and we shouldn't have our early polling locations, shame on you. Shame on you. And listen, Connie Lawson, I'm not taking your reprimand of Curtis Hill. I'm not taking your reprimand. You never stood up for us in Marion County before. You never, and Jim Merritt, you sure as heck didn't say anything, and you ain't been saying anything about it. That's why I'm voting for Derek Camp, and everybody else should vote for Derek Camp. He's got a fundraiser next week. Y'all need to find him at Giacomo's on the 16th. But here's the deal. You got people in our state house that are still working hard to disenfranchise voters in Marion County. Are y'all feeling me? Now, I brought all of these different issues up for one reason and one reason only. I brought up the media hype about demographics. I brought up the issues of voting. I'm bringing up the issue of EPA. None of those things are necessarily related individually, but when you think about this, all of those situations can change with one thing: an election. Elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. You don't want the EPA putting asbestos in our environment again? Then you make sure that you vote and make sure the people who are in charge of the EPA are not allowing it there. If you want early voting sites in Marion County and you don't want some attorney general wasting our tax dollars fighting an unconstitutional ruling, then you need to get out and vote. See, what we forget more than anything else is that there's power in numbers. There are more of us who care about breathing clean air. There are more of us who care about the shifting demographics in a positive way. There are more of us who care about not being poisoned by asbestos in our home. There are more of us. But if you sit at home and you pretend like voting doesn't matter, if you allow them to drum into your brain the apathy that they want you to have so that you do not act upon what is necessary to act upon, then they will get away with it. They will get away with treating us the way they treat us if you don't mobilize, if you don't get active, if you do not move. This week alone should tell you the importance of voting, because if it wasn't so important, they wouldn't try so hard to keep you from it. They wouldn't try so hard to keep you from voting if it wasn't so important. Curtis Hill, dog, I know what your problem is. The deal is you trying to, shift the blame because you don't know how to keep your hands to yourself. And you're using taxpayer dollars. Hello, taxpayer dollars. Now, mind you, I know we got a $1.8 billion surplus, but it's not for you to go fighting laws and rulings and bipartisan decisions because what? You don't like it? People, I know I'm kind of frothing at the mouth, and I get that because today, if you don't understand getting up, getting yourself registered to vote, go on my Facebook page. There's a link where you can go and register online. You can go and come down to any clerk's office in the county that you live in and get registered to vote. In fact, today there were young ladies standing out front of the city county building who were registering people to vote. You don't have the opportunity or the luxury to sit around and sit this election out. 2018, we need to flip some seats everywhere. There are competitive races everywhere. You saw what happened in Ohio yesterday. Competitive races everywhere. Wake up, people. This is our government. We the people. This is our government. This is a citizen government. I'm on a rant. I'm going to stop now because I got two great people to talk to. But I had to get that out today. All of those things that are happening, do not let the apathy sink in. We got less than 90 days. That ain't nothing. Y'all waiting for checks longer than that, and we're happy to wait for them. Y'all stood outside waiting for iPhones, waiting for Jordans, whatever the case, to get Gen Con tickets. You will wait. Listen, mobilize, energize, be ready, because they're coming for us. They do not want us to be involved. But you cannot let that happen. All right? Indiana Zone, that's my rant. But first, so now we got great guests. We're going to lighten this up a little bit. You know me, I like to have fun, and this is the ladies' hour. You know, this is the first all-female. Shout out to all the females in the house, because you know what? This is the year of the woman. We're going to win some things. First of all, my first guest is Kathy Zoucha.
Yes.
And tell me what district you're running in.
I'm running for State Senate in District 15.
And then we also have Christina Fivecoate, which I love your name, by the way.
Yeah.
Fivecoate. What's up?
Hi.
And what district are you running in?
Senate District 21.
So we got 2 competitive Senate races right here. There's only 9 Democrat senators in our state house. So this is exciting. I'm glad that I have 2 Senate candidates that are running. So ladies, I'm going to switch this over and allow the people to get to know who you are. Kathy, we'll start with you. Tell the people where you're from, or who you are, where you come from.
Okay, everybody. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was born in Fort Wayne, raised in Fort Wayne, educated in Fort Wayne. I attended St. Jude Elementary School and Bishop Dwenger High School. I was the first female student body president at Indiana University, Purdue University at Fort Wayne. I eventually moved out to Los Angeles. I had a couple of different jobs when I was out there. My last job was a marketing writer for Warner Brothers International Television Distribution.
Ah, that's where that boss came from. Okay.
Yes.
Me and HB discovered her boss today.
Yes. I was directing everybody around the place today. So anyway, and I moved back to Fort Wayne. My father was in his 90s, and I moved back into the family house with him. He passed on, and I went back to school. I got my transition to teaching license in teaching exceptional learners, otherwise known as special education.
Oh, nice.
And I work at Kikianga Middle School in Fort Wayne Community Schools, which is
educator.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is the largest school district in the state. It's in Fort Wayne. And most people think it would be Indianapolis, but it's the Fort Wayne School District that's the largest.
Well, that's because IPS is continuing. Oh, look, an IPS bus. They're shrinking. They're shrinking. IPS is shrinking.
IPS is shrinking because people don't understand education and what we need to do to improve our education, and it's not to close public schools, and we have plenty of studies that prove that.
All right. Christina, introduce yourself to the people.
I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay. My best friend is from Pittsburgh, so.
More specifically, McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania. You might recognize that name because I think it's John Kasich, who's also from McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So it's really just a suburb, like a borough right outside of downtown Pittsburgh. I was raised by my mom. Okay. She had 8 kids.
Woo!
I know, right? Yes.
Women are amazing. I mean, women are. I am not one of those amazing women, but there are amazing women out there. Come on in closer to me.
Okay.
Yeah, come on in. Yeah. Switch chairs. There we go.
Okay. So she had 8 kids. I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers.
Okay.
We don't all have the same dad. So my mom had 3 kids to one guy, and then 4 kids to another guy, and then
blended
she
family.
had me.
Yeah.
And I've never met my dad. I don't know who he is. Don't know what he looks like, but I know that he looks more like me because I look nothing like the rest of them. My siblings or my mom, they all look like white. I don't.
Okay.
So,
interesting dynamic, but we're gonna go with that.
Yeah, so she was a single mom, 8 kids, so she lived where she could afford to live, and that was like not in the greatest part of the city of Pittsburgh. So we lived about 3 minutes from downtown. To drive down there, I went to Stowe Rocks School District. It's not the greatest school district. I just shared something yesterday on Facebook about there's this church that's fundraising to get backpacks for all those kids down there in elementary school, but so it wasn't a great school. After high school, I made a bunch of poor choices. Don't we all?
Baby, I'm just glad I did all my poor choices before the internet.
Right? Yeah, good Lord. Could you imagine all that?
I couldn't do this now. I couldn't have ran for office if people knew all the stuff that I did.
So I was pregnant when I was 20. Had my son when I was 21. I was a single mom. And when I was 23, I moved to Kokomo, Indiana. I met a guy. He was from Kokomo. So I moved here, and we're not together anymore.
But you stayed.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, we got them too, girl. If you live, you gonna have some of them. You keep living,
So I stayed. I actually started dating my neighbor. We're married now. Got married. I, worked a bunch of part-time jobs, and decided I was going to put myself through school. I went to Rode's Beauty College in
Okay.
Kokomo, and so I did nails for a little while up there, and turned out that wasn't really for me. I didn't want to do that. Actually, like my shoulder told me I didn't want to do that
Okay,
anymore.
because that's a lot of physical work, yeah.
And so I went back to school. I went to Ivy Tech for their library technical assistant program, and I got an associate's degree there. And then I worked at the Kokomo Howard County Public Library for, well, I kind of still work there.
Okay.
But I was part-time there. It's a lot of part-time jobs. And then I decided, then one of my coworkers gave me a job ad from the paper that the IU Kokomo Library was hiring, so I applied for that, and I've been working there since 2014.
Okay.
Full-time, but I still work at the other library as well.
So you're one of those folks who, is working multiple jobs to sustain yourself.
Oh, not only that, but my husband, he works for the state of Indiana in the Department of Corrections, and he works all the overtime. They get like 2 refusals every 6 months, so he works all kinds of overtime. Like just this past weekend, was it this weekend or last weekend, he worked like 46 hours in 3 days. It was ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah. I'm sorry, but when you live in Indiana, you have to work more than one job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm a full-time teacher, but I have 3 part-time jobs as well.
Holy smokes.
And sometimes I'm working as many as 70 hours a week teaching, and then I go to my part-time jobs as well.
Holy smokes. Now, and what is fascinating about this dynamic that we have right here, you have I assume you went to college right out of high school? Or?
Yes.
Okay, so you transitioned the traditional way, and you're more of a adult
non-traditional.
I'm a non-traditional student. I was also a non-traditional student. But what I'm seeing is that you guys are like, you guys have very different paths that have brought you here to run for office. And I can tell you guys have very different reasons why you're running for office, but I bet you're on the same page on a lot of different issues. What was the reason that got, because this is going to be fun, what was the reason that got you to say, I am running for office in 2018?
Okay, well, the first thing I want to say is you're from McKees Rock, Pennsylvania, which, Nick, I know you're watching in Idaho. A lot of former Notre Dame football players were from there as well, so it's known as a good football place.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big football fan.
Okay.
And so I ran, because I'm a teacher, I ran 2 years ago for state representative, mainly because I was a teacher, but as I decided education in Indiana is not doing as well for our kids as it should. I know that I don't think that people are doing it on purpose, but we have
we have don't give them a pass.
Okay,
when you pass legislation to cut funding and vouchers and all that, you're doing it on purpose. So no, don't give them a pass.
We have no K through 12 state senators in our legislature.
What you know about that?
Yeah.
Wait. No senators actually pass K through 12, or we don't have any. I'm kidding.
We have, and over 50% of our budget goes to K through 12 education. So we need an educator to educate our state senators about what it is they need to do for our kids.
I agree.
Especially the special ed kids. We need more specific laws like the other states have. When I have students who transfer in from other states, their parents will tell me, his pediatrician told us we shouldn't be moving to Indiana because it's so far behind the other states with regard to special education. Wow,
that is scary. That is scary that other people know how sad we are. Right. That's just bad. And so, what was your motivating force, Christina? What was that thing that got you in 2018 to say, I'm running for office?
Okay, so I kind of just, when you're frustrated, people are always like, well, write your representatives. That's what they always tell you to do. And so I did that for several years ever before I decided to run. I was just always frustrated. And my representatives, I would get, well, thanks, but that's not how I vote. And I'm like, well, I don't really care how you vote. You work for me.
Right? I pay your salary.
I have a voice, and I'm very opinionated, and anybody that knows me knows that I'm very opinionated. And so for people to say that to me, it's just like, how do I get them to listen to me without getting in the room, without getting a seat at that table? So that's kind of, my kind of push. It's like, what can I do? And I never volunteered for any candidates before on any campaigns or anything. I was just like, what can I do? And found this training online for downtown, and I went down there, and then I think it was Zach Brown and what's the other one? What's his name?
Yeah.
So they were like, we need people to run in some districts, and I was like, well, I'll go see if mine is one of them, and it was, and I went home, and I was like, my husband already knew I wanted to run, but I was like, what would you think if I did this? And he was like, so you're the woman. Go do whatever it is you want to do.
Absolutely. and I wanted to highlight the different career paths, because there's always this misconception that you have to be on this specific path in order to serve your community. And see, to me, running for office, that's all you're doing is saying, I want to serve my community. Now, if you have been in a situation where you're, working hand to mouth and feeding hand to mouth, or a single parent, raised by a single parent, aren't you going to have a little bit better understanding about what that looks like versus the 80% of males who are elected officials who, I'm sorry, they may be single parents, but they will never be single moms.
Right.
And there inherently is a difference. When you're thinking about, what it's going to be like to win that seat, what dynamic are you bringing to the State House?
So I think as women, we have a little bit more compassion and understanding and empathy than, no offense, some men.
Some men.
I want to say some men.
Because some women, because that Susan Brooks chick,
right?
I don't even understand her, but I understand. But I feel you. Some dudes just don't get it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, yeah, that's I mean,
And so, and then I was gonna say.
Well, we also have different experiences.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we're going to look at. For me as a teacher, I teach in a high poverty school. Any year, 8 out of 10 kids that I teach, or 9 out of 10 kids that I teach, receive free and reduced breakfast and lunch because they don't have enough money. And we know that children who are in a lower socioeconomic status are the children who don't do as well on testing. So we really don't need to be spending $50 million a year on ISTEP tests. Just come to me, give me the statistics, let me see which children are from parents who have a lot of money, and I'll let you know that those are the ones who are going to do well, and the ones who don't have a lot of money are the ones who aren't going to do as well. It doesn't matter what school you're at, it doesn't matter what teacher you have, it doesn't matter what state you're in, it's in this country. Nationwide, those are the statistics.
Wow, basically that speaks to nutrition. That speaks to, being hungry before you go to school. I mean, I was very fortunate. There was always food in the house. When I grew up, I tell people all the time, I grew up in Isaiah and Harriet land dipped in chocolate. Thank you, unions. Unions made that possible for us, right? So I was very fortunate to never be hungry going to school. But I imagine for a hungry kid, it is much more difficult for them to focus.
Oh, and their stomachs hurt. It's so many times I'll have a student who'll say, do you have anything for me to eat?
Wow.
My stomach hurts. And I have them in middle school, so they are really growing. So I do have a stash. I do feed them. I make sure that they're not hungry. You can't think if you're hungry. I can't think when I'm hungry, so how can I expect my children to work?
Okay. And so, Christina, when you started to run for office, you're frustrated. What were the things that were frustrating you? Give us examples.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my husband's employment.
Okay. All right. I work for government.
Okay,
yeah.
So for a while, they weren't given raises. They start taking away benefits, like they took the right to work away. Mitch Daniels did that. Thank you. That's sarcasm. Right
to be broke as hell.
Right. So the mandatory overtime, only 2 refusals, 6-month period. If you're late to work, then you basically give up any raise that you get. If you're yeah.
And this is the state. This is Department of Corrections. These are the policies that as taxpayers we are paying for.
Yes.
And see, I worked in IoT, and so I worked in, I guess, the white collar version of our government, right? Because we were not treated like that. I've never even. But I never worked in the Department of Corrections, so how would I know?
So, I mean, no one wants to work in corrections, right? But they pay decent compared to, what else is available up there in Kokomo. So what you got, really, you have Chrysler, right? And Jelco or Aptiv or Delphi, whatever it was they called that last week. Them, but their parking lot's pretty much empty anymore.
Right.
And then you have to know somebody to get in on Chrysler. And
right.
so, I mean, there's no other big employers that pay really well except the prison, which is my new correctional facility. You know, and it's like, so you have to put up with a lot.
Right, because you have to work. Right.
Could I say something about the public sector jobs?
Sure.
When we have police officers who are amazing, we have firefighters who are amazing, we also have teachers who are over 75% female. Our state legislature took away the collective bargaining in 2011 for the teachers, and they also took away our merit raises for teachers. And now we don't have enough teachers.
Well, that's one of the reasons why. That's definitely one of the reasons why. But you know, being a public sector employee myself, I get it. I work for the county, and I worked for the IT department for the city county for a minute. Now I work in the surveyor's office, and I've not seen a raise in 4 years. I've not seen a raise, but the state house just passed, you know, legislations 2 years in a row where my gas is increasing,
right.
And they have increased the cost of living. And as a public, and what drives me nuts more than anything is that they always act like government workers are lazy, we don't want to work, and we're just sitting around on our behinds. But we're not even keeping up with the cost of living.
And in Indiana, we make 80 cents for every dollar that the rest of the country makes. And that includes, I'm sorry, Kentucky, it includes you. So all of our surrounding states make more money than we do. And up in northeastern Indiana, Fort Wayne is compared to Des Moines, Iowa, because our housing is about approximately the same amount. But the people in Des Moines make 26% more a year than those of us who make in northeastern Indiana.
And are you guys seeing the same kind of numbers in Kokomo? Well, Kokomo used to be a hotbed for union jobs, but you know.
Well, there's still unions in Kokomo for sure. I just spoke at one a couple weeks ago. So I mean, I
like Howard County.
I mean, I can't speak to the numbers that she did. I'm not an expert. I don't know all those numbers, but I mean, I think that, you know, people like me, they think that unions are good because, you know, we need to have people who are looking out for the workers.
Absolutely.
And I don't feel like Indiana is doing that.
Are you kidding me?
You know,
your feeling is justified by their actions.
You know, with the whole right to work, they're selling out our workforce for cheap labor. They're saying we don't value you.
Right, absolutely.
And, you know, and you don't have to work here, and you're replaceable.
Right. Oh my gosh! If I hear that one more time. If I hear that one, because how would they feel if I said I don't have to buy your product?
And what I hear lately, this is a new one for me, because I see it everywhere I go is hiring, right? And then everyone's saying, well, people don't want to work anymore. That's not true. People want to work, but they want to be paid what they think they're worth.
Absolutely.
And they don't want to work 20 hours here, 15 hours there, 8 hours somewhere else. They ain't got time for that, driving all over town. They want one job that's going to pay them a living wage, something that they can support their families on, and that they can take care of their children with. They don't have time to drive around like I'm doing, like you're doing.
Right. And the killer part is the examples that, you know, we talk about CEOs and CEO, whatever. They want to maximize their dollars, but for some reason they have an issue with workers wanting to maximize their earning potential. What's good for the goose ain't good for the gander. I mean, and I asked Brian Bosman, should he, you know, return, you know, some of that 60+ grand that he gets just on the surface, right? We're not going to talk about his per diems and all of his other perks that he get for all the other crap and leader. I mean, that dude probably makes 100 grand, right, of your taxpayer dollars. But they are writing legislation every freaking year to make it more difficult for you to sustain your family on a living wage. So we kind of talked about education a little bit, and we talked about making sure that we have a living wage. Give me some, and I like having people from different geographic locations of Indiana, because I like to talk about how, as Democrats all over the state, we really do have a strong message. Tell me something else that you're talking about in your campaign that's resonating with your voters.
Okay, well, I do want to make a correction in that teachers are able to bargain for their wages, but we're not able to bargain for our workplace conditions.
Gotcha,
So we can
gotcha.
have 50 kids in the classroom.
And I know you can't strike. I know you
Right.
can't. You can't do like what they did in was it Kansas? Kansas or
West Virginia, Oklahoma,
where they walked out. I know
Yes.
that you guys can't do that, but you know what? Last day of school, y'all should be outside. First day of school, y'all should be outside, because there are school systems in our state where the facilities are horrible. The books and the tools that they're supposed to be using are horrible. And this is the part that I don't get. This is our future, people. This is our future. You talking about? They care so little
Yes.
about Hoosiers that they don't even want to make sure our future is well educated. But okay,
They care so little about our children.
absolutely.
We have the highest black infant mortality rate in the country.
Come on, I
in
know
the
that.
country.
You know that.
And it's in the 46806 zip code in Fort Wayne. We have a higher infant mortality rate than almost every other state. We have a Child Protective Services agency that is underfunded. They've spent over $1 million. Our state legislature and governor has spent over $1 million. I think it's 1.4, paying for 3 different studies within the last several years, and all of the studies say the same thing. Hire more CPS workers.
And you got to pay them. You can't give them $25,000 and expect them to neglect their own children to take care of somebody else. I mean, that DCS is so much bigger than just the dollar amount and how much but they don't want to deal. Go ahead, you got a thought. Go.
Well, I was just like, I remember reading an article about the DCS and how some of that could be reduced, having some of those children in that, if we legalize marijuana, because some of those parents are testing for marijuana. Now, you know, when I said I made poor choices, smoking pot is one of them. I don't really consider it a poor choice because it's way safer than alcohol. It's, helps. It's more people are doing studies across the country where it's helping medicinally for people. I'm all for legalizing
I'm
across the board.
100%.
And for medicinal purposes, I think your insurance should cover it.
Wow, you went there. Did y'all catch
sure
that? She said,
did.
"Why not cover?" Well, I mean, I think if Cialis and any
Yes.
other
Viagra.
erectile dysfunction pill can be covered by insurance, most of the time y'all done smoked a little weed to go ahead and pop that pill anyway. And I'm lesbian, so I don't understand why you gotta have it anyway. I don't know. You can go buy what you need in the store. They got them hanging up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go there.
Back
They're smoking pot anyway. That's what I'm saying. Indiana.
They're gonna put me off the air with that lesbian
You know,
joke.
what I wanted to say is that back in the 1980s, Medicare did not pay for women's mammograms.
Right.
And eventually it did pass, and they did pay for it. But the minute Viagra passed,
But that's
they
because-
started paying for that.
That is because 80% of our legislators are men. We need more women to care about women's issues. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are men who do care about women's issues. I'm not saying, because we wouldn't have those gains that we do have without those men. However, just think how much the conversation changes if the numbers were more like 45-55 or 60-40. We'll take a 60-40 split. If there were more women, and even Republican women, there... 1337, which was the abortion bill. There were Republican women saying, "Wait a second, this is a horrible piece of legislation. If we must have more." And men, dog, time is up. It's coming. Go ahead,
If
chime
you
in.
don't have a uterus or a vagina, you shouldn't get to make laws about somebody who does.
Well, there's that. I won't make any laws about your wee-wee. You don't make any laws about my uterus. I like that. I like that idea.
One of the issues up in northeastern Indiana that we're talking about, and people are really rallying around, is the unfair voting districts. We have terrible...
Gerrymandering.
Indiana is one of the worst gerrymandered states, and so it's seen at the polls, and it gets to the point where we also have the lowest voter turnout.
We don't fix that.
Wonder why. If your vote's not going to count, why do you go vote?
Exactly. But see, now, as long as you have somebody in the seat running, as long as there's an opponent, what was driving me crazy was that if I didn't have anybody that was running, I didn't have anyone to vote for, why vote? But now, like, we got most of our Senate races. I mean, I'm so impressed with Hamilton County. They filled a Democrat in Hamilton County. They filled all their Democrat slots. So I'm saying now at least they can be competitive. With no one on the ballot, they're not competitive. Jump in, ladies.
So you want to talk about more balanced numbers in the state Senate. So there's only 6 women.
Right. And
so we definitely need more quality.
6 out of 50. Yes. And there's only 9 Democrats.
Right. Yes. Only 9 out of 50 Democrats.
And what people don't understand.
We need to have more representation.
Absolutely.
What Indiana actually looks like.
Absolutely.
A representational democracy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so that's what we're trying to do here on Turn Left. And I know, that's what you guys are out there doing, is trying to rally the troops, rally people to the polls, get them registered. So tell me, what are some of the things that you are shocked that you've been seeing out on the campaign trail?
Oh, well, up in our area, the congressional race for District 3.
Courtney Tritch, I love her.
Courtney Tritch. Well, Courtney is a friend of mine, and unfortunately, within the last couple of years, she's lost her father, her mother, and her 40-year-old sister. And she has been trying to debate our incumbent. His name is Jim Banks, and he keeps saying that he's going to debate her. She wants 4 debates, and we're really 90 days out, and he has not. He's refused to debate her. And
then
he said
and then he
that
said,
I have a family and she doesn't.
Basically.
And
I have a job that's important.
Yes.
I have more important things to do. If you basically saying if you had a family and a job as important as mine, you would understand why I have not booked my debates with you yet.
And it's interesting because he lived in Washington, D.C. all last year without his family.
Oh, what you know about that?
So I don't understand. I mean, he left his area and left his family.
I forgot what they look like.
He does now have his family with him, but I do see that as hypocritical.
It's questioning. I thought the statement was a dig, and he wanted to make it seem like she was changing the subject. I saw the video. It was a dig. It was what we call in the black community when white folks say something stupid. That was a dog whistle. So that was a misogynistic dog whistle. We see racist dog whistles all the time, but that was a misogynistic dog whistle, and he should not get away with it. And I hope the voters don't let him get away.
It was very misogynistic, and if she were a man, it would have never been said.
It would have never been said. So what have you seen that just kind of shocked you?
I think I expected everything.
Okay.
Going knocking on doors. It's been people have been really receptive.
Oh, good.
For the most part, I've only had a handful of people who were just like, "Oh, you're wrong,"
right,
being hateful.
But you're gonna run into those on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah. So, it's been okay. I guess.
So your experience as a candidate has been pretty good. That's actually great to hear.
I don't want to say it's been all good. I think I expected more from the party, like as far as help wise, but I'm learning that that's all across the board. People are thinking that.
Right.
I think
so
that's
there's no outline of this is what you do when you decide to run for office.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like you decide to run for office, and then it's like everyone asks you what you need, and you're like, well, I have no idea what I need.
Right. And I get that, because that was like one of my bugaboos when I ran for office. But one of the things I've learned now, after having run for office, and now I work for the party, because after I finished, I was like, I want in. Right. I want in my party because I feel like I can do some positive work. We have to. One of the things that we're trying to switch the mentality of is there are a lot of people who think that the party puts up candidates. And the party says, okay, you go run in this district, you go, no. The candidate has to decide to run. And it is a huge commitment to run for office. So no, the party is not putting up candidates. Candidates are putting themselves up. And unfortunately in Indiana, for Democrats, our resources are very limited. We don't raise the same amount of money. And so where we can make it up is our army. We can make it up in galvanizing our team and getting on our blue wave and getting out. I see it. Come on.
So you're talking about the party doesn't put up candidates, right? And you get on the other side, you're just a regular citizen, and people are like, well, the Democrats don't have anyone running, and they don't have anyone worth my vote. And it's like, No, sweetie. You need to get up and you need to go find out who it is that your beliefs align with, and you need to go help that person.
Go ahead, or run your damn self.
On doors. They need somebody to write letters. They need someone to make phone calls. And, you know, whenever it came the last presidential election, people only thought, well, there's only 2 people to vote for. No, if you go online, there's a whole long list of people to vote for.
Right,
and write in whoever you want.
But you gotta get involved.
You need to get up off your ass. Can I say
so you can say ass.
Off your ass.
This ain't no SCC over here, baby.
I don't care about white people, black people, Mexicans, whoever the hell you are. Get up off your ass. Make phone calls. Knock on doors. Donate your money if you ain't got time to get up and knock on doors. And donate your time, because that's what candidates need. They need people who are going to make websites for them, who are going to design flyers for them, who are going to
host events for them,
yes,
or give them an opportunity to come talk for an hour on a radio show, whatever it is that you do.
You know, I didn't know I was supposed to be calling all these different people to say, hey, can I come speak at your meeting?
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm just...
Because to me, voting is the least you can do. Vote, and I know we talk about voting, and I am a stickler for it, but voting when it comes to this political thing is the least you can do. I think you need to educate yourself on the issues. Yes. And we're not... So I was at the Pride of Color that we had down here in Indianapolis this weekend, and a young man walked up to me and he said, so, tell me why I should be a Democrat. I said, bro, I can't tell you why you should be a Democrat because I don't understand your value system. But what I suggest you do is look at the party platforms, and then you align yourself with the party that aligns most with your value system. I'm never going to tell anybody why they should be a Democrat because that's not for me. I can tell you why I want. And another thing is that the party is made up of nothing but volunteers. There's only a handful of people who actually get paid in our state party. So all of this notion about, you know, who is the party putting up, well then you should be the person that the party, you should be the person that runs for office. Because I'm sure there's a seat somewhere, be it a school board seat or a township seat or a constable seat that you can run for. Get off my soapbox, I'm sorry.
No, you know, it's okay, but I will say when I talk to people and I do discuss what my platform is and what's important to me, frequently I find that the Republicans are saying, well, yeah, but many times they don't believe that our state legislature has voted for the different bills that they have voted for. They won't believe them. Yeah, they won't believe me.
All they have to do is go look it up.
I know.
There's a history right there for them.
Yes, I understand. I want people in Indiana to be more informed on the issues of what we have going on in our state.
And it's our job to inform them as leaders of the party, yes.
So there was actually one thing I just remembered that I was surprised at. So on the state website for, you know, my candidate, my opponent, people were always telling, oh, well, you have to know your stuff, you know, you have to know how he voted and all this stuff. So I went and I tried to look up, like, you know, on all the bills that were passed, like how he voted. And it doesn't work like that. You have to figure out all the bills that got passed first and then figure out how he voted. And it would be so much easier if the state had a, you know, on that person's elected, you know, your elected official's page of all the bills that were passed that year, like, did he vote yay or nay on their page?
Right, and
so
the only thing
you can just go and see how your representative voted.
And here's the other thing, but you guys are both saying something that is very important. It is up to us as citizens and as citizen government to do our research. We cannot, I mean, this idea that we need to be fed our information is driving me nuts, but that's what happens when you defund public education. We're not teaching people to think for themselves, do the research. I mean, the hardest part of getting my master's degree was doing my thesis and doing the research on that thesis and validating and all the hours and hours of combing through articles and books and statements and putting together a comprehensive report that I was going to turn in. People want to sit back and get a 140 character soundbite. They wanted a minute and a half statement that solidifies all of their thought process. Stop being lazy. Stop being lazy. I mean, and as a teacher, that's got to drive you insane. It's got to drive you nuts.
It amazes me how passive my fellow teachers are.
Oh, wow.
And how they're not getting upset. Not I don't mean getting upset about their condition, about their working conditions, about their pay. I mean getting upset about what we're not able to do for our children.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But I do have Republican teachers coming up to me finally and saying, "Oh, I get it now."
Right, because it didn't impact them directly, so they were missing the point.
It took a while for it to really hurt.
Oh my goodness. So, one of the things that we like to do, so we touched on a lot of different topics from our side of the aisle. Tell me, as someone who is looking for help, I know you gave an impassioned plea right now about some of the work that you need. Tell us about any campaign events that you guys have coming up that people can literally show up and volunteer for, or how they can find you and where can they donate to your campaign.
Definitely for me, please like me on Kathy Zoucha for Indiana. That's KathyZoucha for Indiana on Facebook, and also KathyZouchaForIndiana.com. On my webpage, it's not quite up yet, so give me a couple of weeks. You'll find a lot of information on that. I'm also on Act Blue. I am having, house party fundraisers. I have some friends who are holding those, so those will be, you'll be able to see those on my Facebook page and then also on my webpage.
And when are you guys going out canvassing? Do you have some canvassing dates?
I do have some canvassing dates. We'll be going out on August 18th.
Okay, all right.
And I also have an Avow forum on August 20th, and that's the Advancing Voices of Women in Indiana. I just graduated from the Candidates Institute, and we will be
congratulations.
Thank you. We will be having an event at in Fort Wayne on August 20th.
Excellent, excellent. Christina, where can the people find you?
They can search Fivecoate, Fivecoate.
I love your last name, by the way. I love it.
On Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Act Blue.
Okay, and by the way, you have one of the best campaign pictures I have seen in a very long time. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. And
I don't have a website.
Okay.
I don't have any upcoming fundraisers scheduled.
Not yet.
But if anyone would like to host one.
Hello, you better get that. That's what I'm talking about. Get your shout. If anybody wants to host, you guys need to find her. I've tagged her on this video, so you should be able to find her. Same thing with Kathy. They're both tagged. So now you've got two women candidates that you know about who are talking about workers' rights and kids and making sure that our community, regular everyday people have an opportunity via our legislative policies. What are some of the things, if you could, as you're working and you get into the State House and you win, what is, other than, the school stuff, what is the first piece of legislation you want to work on?
Well, actually, the first piece really is special education legislation.
Okay.
We have in our individualized education plans, we have a legal document that may say a child is allowed to take tests, an I-STEP test or I-LEARN test in a small group, but it doesn't delineate in the state of Indiana. I don't understand this, what a small group means. So that can be 50 kids, and children with ADHD cannot take a test in a room with 50 kids. You specifically have to delineate. You have to specifically delineate how many students a special education teacher can have on his or her caseload, because we are working for those children. We're advocating for those children. So we need laws that talk about that.
Okay, and what's the first piece of legislation you want to work on?
Well, I think I would like to work with Karen Talion and Jim Lucas on legalizing medicinal and recreational cannabis in the state of Indiana.
Okay,
and
hey,
that'll bring in some revenue for all the things you want to do.
We got a $1.8 million surplus. We ain't hurting for money.
No, we're not hurting for money. But for some reason, they gave us a new gas tax.
Yeah, that's because you have legislators who don't know how to allocate our tax dollars properly, even though they are supposed to be the fiscal responsible group. But they, I wouldn't let them run my house.
A lot of my veterans in the area are very happy about the CBD oil, and they want medicinal marijuana to help them.
I do think that we need a whole plant CBD oil.
Yes. The whole plant? I say the whole flower too, because the CBD oil, you don't always know where it's manufactured.
Right.
Now, one thing I a plant, when you burn it, you know what it is. I mean, you can smell it. You can, you know. So I am not a what do you call it?
Expert.
There we go. on the thing, I don't know, but I also know that CBD oil is a little bit different than the plant itself and how it. And what's so great about the plant is that it can be engineered. It can be engineered. They can take, just like they engineer carrots or potatoes. You got like a rainbow color of potatoes, so they can be engineered. And if you have a herbalist who knows what they're doing, you can get an herb that actually targets a specific need. So if it's a chronic pain, and see, the oil to me is just a little different than the plant, but I mean, yeah, I get it.
I know people who are getting relief, pain relief with the oil, and also regarding medicinal marijuana. Children who have seizures respond very well to it, and so that's one of the reasons that I'm in favor of it.
Well, you know, Republicans are trying to hijack that marijuana issue because they've seen what happens in Colorado and Washington. So what's your boy who wants to have you know, he wants everybody to have weed but nobody to have a gun permit. Listen, Jim, okay,
yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's been other representatives that have been, you know, submitting bills for years, but as soon as, well, I think he's more of like, what did he call himself? He's not really.
He thinks he's a libertarian.
Yes.
Is that what he thinks he is?
So, but as soon as one of them attach onto it, it's like wildfire.
Right. And this is like
it's like, oh, one of us has got
the hate crimes.
We're gonna completely veto it anytime you want it.
Yeah.
Now that we got it, we're all gung ho.
Oh, the hate crimes. I mean, listen. I think the issue that happened in Hamilton County, you would never, you know, the anti-Semitism that came out of Hamilton County. I'm telling you, I'm not down with it. I hate it, and if I ever catch the fools. But now the governor wants to talk about it. But when black folks was talking about hate crimes, when Muslims were talking about hate crimes, when the Hispanic community was talking about hate crimes, the LGBTQ plus community was talking about hate crimes, anybody say nothing. Follow the money. Hamilton County.
Happened to them, and now it's in
Hamilton County. Don't get me wrong. Anti-Semitism is horrible. Don't y'all come for me, and I mean it. Y'all don't know me, but when it happened in a wealthy community, now the governor's like, we need hate crimes legislation. You know what? Go ahead.
I was in the state senate gallery upstairs when they voted against it, and it was very emotional, as it should be, and it is an issue that we do need to deal with.
Right, absolutely. Because there are a lot of people out here who think that the other side wants to say we're penalizing them for thoughts. Well, think about this: if I go whoop a white man ass, and I whoop his ass so bad, and I say I'm whooping your ass because you a white man, guess what? That's a hate crime. It's a hate crime. And I can whoop some white man ass because they, you know, Paul Ryans of the world are big old chicken shits. They scared of a 70-year-old orange orangutan. Orange man. I should not call him an ape, because if somebody called people in the black community ape, I'd be mad. But an orange dude who don't know how to tan, you scared of a 70-year-old man? I know I can whoop your ass. Not me, but I'm not a violent person. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know, and that's what we're talking about, because there's so many real issues that people need to deal with in our state house. But we got, you know, they're not spending our tax dollars the right way. They're not taking care of our kids. They got a $1.8 billion surplus, but they're closing schools. I don't understand.
Right, and we're closing more rural schools. And
absolutely.
The farmers should be just absolutely enraged about that.
High-speed internet. What student can go to school without having access to high-speed internet?
And having a virtual pre-K where students aren't able to learn what they need to learn in terms of social skills is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But they voted for it, and it's $1 million a year of our taxpayer money for a virtual pre-K. It makes no sense to educators.
No, primary education should not cost as much as a post-secondary. Primary and secondary education should not cost as much as post-secondary education. If you an Ivy League, I mean, I was talking to a campaign manager for John Aguilera, and he was talking about the school that his 2.5-year-old daughter was going to go to, and he's trying to figure out where he's going to get the money to send his 2.5-year-old daughter to this school. And I'm thinking it's some kind of performing arts preschool. Hey, send your kid where you want, but I'm just trying to understand why it doesn't have to cost so much. So if you don't have money, your child doesn't get an opportunity to get an education. That's not what America is supposed to be about, people. That's not America. America says that every person who was born here has the opportunity to get a primary and a secondary education, because that was the social commitment that we made. It should not cost people an arm and a leg.
In all states, all schools that accept federal and state funding should be required to accept all students.
Absolutely. The school down in Bloomington turning away gay folk. I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to separate out the gay tax dollars. I'm waiting for them to figure that out. Maybe Jeff Sessions and his religious task force in his Justice League, I hate gay people Justice League, will figure out how to separate my money, right? Because it all goes into one big pot. Separate my tax money out from the bigoted tax money. So give people one last thought. I'm gonna start with you, Christina. Give us one last thought on something that you just want everybody to know that we hadn't touched on.
Redistricting reform. I think we kind of talked a little bit about it.
All right.
And I know that there's some folks that want like an independent commission. I don't understand why. I mean, we were just talking about, internet, so let's go there with technology. Why can't we, and if there is one, I'm not aware of it because I don't know everything about everything. Why isn't there some IT professional somewhere developing some type of, let's take the voter roll and match that up with
the maps. There's a whole GIS system out there.
That's how they did it.
With the vote, well, I mean, to make it more fair and equal, not to lean one way or another, is to make it more fair and equal.
We need a non-partisan, citizen-run redistricting committee where we have equal amount of independents, Republicans, Democrats, and we get some libertarians in there as well.
Absolutely.
That's what we need. It needs to be citizen-led. Because many members in our state legislature, I was down when they were down in Indy when they were discussing it a couple of years ago, where they do not believe we have a gerrymandering issue.
Oh, well, yeah, we do. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us on Turn Left. You guys are amazing. I love the energy and all this wonderful estrogen that was in the place. Yes, I said it. I love when the estrogen's in the building. Christina Fivecoate and Kathy Zoucha, thank you so much for joining us. One last thing I want to leave you with. I want to say congratulations to my Indiana Stonewall Democrats board. We had an election this past week because we had 2 unexpected resignations. I wish my former president Josh Peters all the mad love, and Tyler Merrick, good luck to you guys. I know that you guys are going to do fantastic things, but please say congratulations to Russ Sipes, who was our treasurer, Belinda Drake, who is our new secretary of the Indiana Stonewall Democrats, Rick Sutton, who is now our new vice president of the Indiana Stonewall Democrats, and yours truly, Indiana's own Dana Black, is the president of our Indiana Stonewall Democrats. Yes, Team Action is in the building. I have a lot of good mentors in the gay community who are going to help me guide this organization to a place where we are helping candidates and helping the people that look out for our community and the LGBTQ plus community. So congratulations to us. I'm going to say that. And we are off next week. All right, we are off next week. Turn Left will be off next week. I am going down to the IDEA conference in French Lick. I'm going to go kick up my heels and motivate Democrats to win. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Love and peace. Indiana's own Dana Black. Turn Left Radio Next. You got it, baby. Have a good night, y'all.
Hi, everybody.